I just want to make sure that I issue this disclaimer because I know some of you are still hungover from New Year's celebrations. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Done everything. Okay. First, 2026. We are inside Pagati within. And Senzo Mkunu is still on special leave. I want to introduce you to Advocate Harrison. Now, she has already gone to the Matlala Commission. Okay, she's the head of the prosecutorial dun over there in KZN. And why am I bringing her up and tying her in connection with VUSIMUZI Cat Matlala over there, brand new resident, the latest edition, EBONGWENI Super Maximum Correctional Facility in the tiny little province of KZN. Now, I can already see you typing and saying, KZN is not a tiny little province. Why do you keep saying that? Blame it on Shadrach Sevilla on the 6th of July, 2025, when he was asked, are you a criminal? Well, he deflected a lot of things, and one of the things he said was Umkonazi must focus on KZN, the tiny little province. Okay? Just in case you don't know that little history from 2025. I know 2025 just ended, but it is already spilling into 2026. Can you imagine? And then I asked myself, Advocate Harrison. Why, oh why am I bringing her up into this VUSIMUZI Cat Matlala sudden move on Christmas season to Kokstad? Well, you see, she's kind of responsible for it. In a way. But then, tiny little voice of mine says, don't forget to tell the people. Don't forget to tell the people who Advocate Harrison is. See, Advocate Harrison, I won't lie, she impressed me when she was at the Matlala Commission. Okay, I'm going to put my hand up and say she impressed me until over there at the Nkabinde Commission, her name came up when the Kato Manor Death Squad case witness was being intimidated, and his name is Ari Danikis, and he wrote to Shamila Patoy, and Shamila Patoy forwarded his complaint of witness intimidation to, yes, you guessed it, Advocate Harrison. What did Advocate Harrison do? Nothing. Yep. She responded to Ari Danikis's letter and said, well, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Don't forget, if you're experiencing any form of witness intimidation, don't forget to go to your nearest police station to open up a case. And that file was dropped, and that was the end of that. Of course, the Cato Manor case, they ended up getting compensated in the millions, okay? But that's all I'm saying with regards to that. I don't want to confuse too many things because I know I've already said Kaminde Inquiry, Matlala Commission. I want us to remain focused on Cat Matlala and Advocate Harrison. Okay. Are we together so far? I know it's a little bit complicated intro right at the beginning of the new year, and some of you are still hungover. But I promise you, if you stay to the end of this video, it will all make sense. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are in a brand new year, okay? I am doing this video compliments of a comment I got. And, I might not reply to all comments, but I promise you I do read all comments. And this comment inspired me to go on a deep dive. And this is what the deep dive uncovered. But first, let me read you the comment because I want to make sure that I'm extremely transparent with you all. This is what the comment says. Okay, here's the comment, and it says, thank you, dear, for taking us through this hectic year with your humorous analysis. Actually, Umkonazi mentioned the EBONGWENI recommendations to the Minister of Correctional Services with the PKTT cases, so as they have consolidated all the cases for him. I guess he's now under the PKTT watch, and EBONGWENI is the prison they hold their remandees. Okay. So this comment, I was like, okay, very interesting. Let me dig in further into these recommendations. So these recommendations were done by Advocate Harrison. There are 4 recommendations. Let me play the recommendations for you. They're going to be read by the Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of KZN. And I'll be back with the rest of my commentary. Here goes.
General, you've had in 2019, you say that you were aware of those factors in bullet 1, 2, 3, and these are the politically related cases, especially murder, are organized in that way described there. Most of the cases are dependent on Section 204 witnesses, and then bullet 3, the involvement of politicians and business people. As at 2024, when Minister Mkhunu sends the letter or the instruction to disband the political killings task team, what in your impression and experience is the position? Is it still the same? Is it any different?
It remains the same, Commissioner, that there is a lot of interference with these investigations in different forms, as is listed there, in order to try and close these cases by business people and politicians. And by and large, because they're political cases, the people on the higher level of the syndicates that are involved are the ones that are behind the closures of dockets. So they influence the docket. It still remains the case to date.
2 things we know about Cat Matlala is that he has access to politicians and that he's a businessman. And then he also is inside Parati within the procurement through tenders inside Parati government, right? Government procurement tenders. So basically, when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi says there's a lot of interference with these investigations in different forms by business people, aka VUSIMUZI Cat, KT Molefe, the rest, okay, you name them. Oh, let's not forget Maumela and others, just to name a few. Allegedly, of course. And politicians, I'm not going to name any politicians, okay? If there are any politicians you feel inclined to name, do feel free to take advantage of the comment section down below. But Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi is saying that business people and politicians influence the closure of dockets. And I pause there to say, is this the reason that he was transferred to be under the supervision of the PKTT and the KZN prosecutorially led investigations under these 4 recommendations? Isn't that interesting? But then, who is the head of the NPA in KZN? It's Advocate Harrison. Who is Advocate Harrison? Well, I guess not everybody's perfect at their job. She might have made a rookie mistake or a mistake earlier on in her role as the NPA, the head of NPA in KZN, by ignoring Ari Danakis's plea for help as a witness that was being intimidated. So I'm a little bit looking at her side eye because on the one hand, she has these 4 great recommendations, which we are now seeing play out in the public court. As the members of the public jury, we are now watching these recommendations play out live. Cat Matlala moved with immediate effect, immediately before anyone even knows. Move him to be under the watchful eye of the PKTT and be inside Parati within EBONGWENI. And then once he's there, who is coming to visit him? Every single name is going to be written. All the I's are going to be dotted. The T's are going to be crossed. And then the PKTT are going to be visiting Cat Matlala very often. Very, very often. Do you remember inside the Matlala Commission, side note, Dumisani, I'll never forget this sentence because I thought it was absolutely hilarious. General Dumisani Khumalo said, well, we'll be visiting KT Molefe anytime soon. And just to check up on the chocolates in the bag. Do you guys remember that sentence he said? Something like that. I'm just paraphrasing now. But yeah, it's we're watching it all play out. Like the script was given to us ahead of time. Let's continue listening on.
We go back then, General, to Advocate Harrison's letter, and we were at page 196. And we're looking at the last paragraph. I invite us to consider the last paragraph of that letter at page 196. And she states on 23rd August 2019, there was a steering committee meeting. There was a presentation done, and that presentation she attaches as an extra C for the record, that annexure appears at page 210 of file 2. However, dealing with annexure C, the one at 210, if you could turn to that document, General.
Yes, I'm there.
Advocate Harrison says this was dealt with at the steering committee meeting, and it's headed Progress Report, Investigation and Prosecution of Investigation and Prosecutions of Political Related Cases, Steering Committee, 23 August 2019. Now, yesterday morning, you recall, when you informed of the establishment of the task team, you highlighted the various governance structures of the task team, and the chair even asked you about the National Steering Committee. My question is, the steering committee referenced here, if you could look into the content of that document, do you know that steering committee? Is it in any way related to the task team, or is it a different steering committee?
It's a steering committee related to the task team.
So this is the task team steering committee. She goes on to say that, perhaps before we deal with that, let's look at that report. At page 220, there are recommendations. Is my understanding correct that this is what is being recommended by the NPA to the task team for adoption?
That is correct, Commissioners.
Can we just quickly read that and understand what was being recommended? And for the record, I know that this is 25th August 2019, if we refer back to the minister's letter that is from May of 2019.
There are 4 recommendations, Commissioners. The first one, dedicated courtrooms times 2 for the processing of the political related cases, 1 serving the central and northern regions, and the other court servicing the Midlands and southern regions of the province. Recommendations 2, dedicated prosecutors times 6 and presiding officers times 3, preferable from outside the province, to deal with these cases without delay, fear, and compromise. Third recommendation, the use of dedicated correctional center, in bracket, EBONGWENI, Kokstad, super maximum prison, close bracket, already identified by the Minister of Justice and Correctional Service for accused of politically related cases to minimize the risk of interferences. The last recommendation on bullet 4, utilization of police officials to fulfill the function of the security officers for state witnesses on political related cases who are on the Witness Protection Program as prescribed in the Witness Protection Act 112 of 1998, Section 35A, Roman figure 3, and Section 6B.
Thank you. To your knowledge, this being a presentation to the task team and the recommendations are being made to the task team, were these recommendations accepted by the task team?
It's recommendations that were made which to some degree were accepted, except the challenges that were expressed regarding the dedicated presiding officers on the matter, which will require the Department of Justice, the courts especially, as although the minister was part of these meetings, but there was no magistrate, chief magistrate as part of the team. So that is what then the NPA was going to escalate to the court.
And before at least the 31st of December 2024, what was the prevailing position within KZN insofar as these recommendations are concerned? What had been implemented after the task team accepted some of these recommendations or were able to implement them?
I must indicate, Commissioners, that when the team was working up until that period, there has been challenges in some of the presiding officers which led into one complaint against one presiding officer, magistrate, that was registered through the right channels for investigation.
General, I apologize to interrupt. Can we give the commissioners a moment? You're not? Okay, thank you, Commissioner. You may proceed.
I was still saying that there had been some challenges with some of the presiding officers in handling these matters of the task team, which led into one complaint that was registered in Pietermaritzburg against one of the presiding officers. But by and large, the close working relationship between the SAPS and the prosecution team on these cases, the involvement of chief prosecutors as directed by the Director of Public Prosecution, of which I must say when we started she was acting and she became permanent. And when she was permanent, then the structure started functioning well, which happened after the letter of the minister's request to the NTPP. And when the structure started working well, then we started seeing cases being enrolled in court, cases not being postponed for a lengthy period as it used to be before, and majority of cases are being finalized in court within a short period of time. So the improvement, the performance of the courts supports the investigation, and the team is satisfied at this present moment with regard to how the matters are handled in court, and also how the prosecution is involved in guiding the team. And those concerns that the minister had written in the letter, which was referred to earlier to the NTPP, citing the challenges that we're experiencing with regard to the decision of prosecutors on matters that we are presenting before them, has been eliminated in that as we are investigating, the prosecution is part of this investigation. So by the time we get to court, we are ready for prosecution. Unlike before when we were raising these concerns, that we're investigating and then hand it over to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor might want to withdraw the case, citing different reasons that made the investigation team to be unhappy. But that has been mitigated by this close working relationship between us. So the situation has vastly improved as a result of these dedicated prosecutors that are part of the team. And also the involvement of correctional services is reflected on that one. As the Minister of Correctional Service and Minister of Justice and Correctional Service had indicated that the maximum prison of Kokstad would be made available, and as well as a close working relationship between the other facilities in KZN, that has made it easier for the detention and the control of access to the suspects in those detention facilities. And the courts are playing, the correctional facilities are playing a critical role in also monitoring the activities that are happening around the people that are arrested. Visitors that are coming to see them, they're able to share with the team that there was this person who came to visit the person that has been detained. And that allows the team to investigate further the involvement of those people, so that it helps us to link them to such a person. There's been a lot of success as a result of that, which we thank correctional services for playing that critical role to help with this investigation, not only just to detain the people, but to assist also with the interviews, making the facilities available for the team to have easy access to correctional facilities to allow the team to be able to investigate.
Okay, you heard it yourself. Those are the 4 recommendations by the steering committee led by Advocate Harrison, the head of the NPA over there in KZN. Now, if we say 1 + 1 is equal to 2, and then 2 times 2 is equal to 4, if it is 4 recommendations, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. It means the prisoner, one of the recommendations is the prisoner is moved to Kokstad, right? And then what else? A dedicated courtroom. So are you doing the 1 + 1 with me? It means that Kat Matlala's court cases are not going to be held in a high court in Gauteng. No. Because of the interference by politicians and businessmen and the high risk of escape. It means, ladies and gentlemen, and this is my prediction, following the 4 recommendations that are endorsed by Kgosi and the PKTT, he's going to be tried in KZN. Basically, in summary, he is the property of KZN. Wow. What a move. You know what? Make sure you bookmark this video. And once Kat Matlala starts to go to court and it is actually in KZN, come back to this video, leave a comment and say, what a prediction, what a prediction, what a prediction. That would be pretty interesting to find out. So I'm going to leave it at that, but let's listen to the rest of this. I'll be back with the rest of my commentary. Let me know what you think about that.
Read into the record paragraphs 2, 3, and the one-line paragraph, no, in fact, 4 and 5, before we get to conclusion. So you can skip the first paragraph on that page. I would like to draw attention to the second paragraph. If you could read from there to just the last paragraph before the heading conclusion. Thank you.
All of the above indicates the amount of work which went into ensuring that the work of the political task team was coordinated so that there was better case coordination and management of same by NPA, but above all, to deal with the prosecutorial challenges that the team and the Minister of Police has raised to the NTPP. I was instructed to have a dedicated prosecutorial capacity, which was provided as per the request. The dedicated prosecutorial capacity is headed by the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, who has advocates under his management who are assigned to guide the investigations, make prosecutorial decisions, and prosecute these matters where they are murder and or attempted murder charges. A database has been retained since the inception of this dedicated capacity. There have been numerous successful prosecutions. There are several high-profile political-related matters or cases on the court roll. Some are in High Court and others are in Regional Court. The dedicated prosecutors continue to provide their prosecutorial dedication to these cases. However, they are also not certain as to what is the position regarding the existence of the team and new cases reported. The task team has its own resources, which assisted with the fast-tracking of the investigations. All of the information above has been set out to show the seriousness that this office made to address the challenges which the task team and SAPS as a whole had raised.
I understand from what you've just read that it is the office of the DPP speaking through Advocate Harrison about the concerns on the part of the DPP and the NPA office as regards the so-called disestablishment of the task team and the loss of effort made since 2019 to address political killings.
That is correct, Commissioner. As the head of the prosecution in KwaZulu-Natal, she was expressing the concern that not only affects her only, but the prosecutors that are working with the team.
And then she draws conclusions. And if you could just read that into the record, please.
It is requested that you assist with providing my office with a response regarding whether the SAPS political task team still exists. The dedicated capacity needs to respond to the dedicated task team. If there is no dedicated task team, then the dedicated prosecutorial capacity will be dissolved, and all new cases will have to be reported to the chief prosecutors in the area where the crime is committed. This office cannot retain dedicated capacity where there is no dedicated SAPS task team. Your correspondence will assist as the unit has to plan for the year 2025-2026. It has its own priorities as per the NPS AOP. As we are all aware, organized crime has become the new focus or priority, and this office needs to plan. I am unfortunately not able to complete the planning because the issue regarding the existence of the task team has not been communicated. At this stage, the only information which one has is that in the media. Your urgent response to the above issue will be appreciated. Signed by Advocate Harrison, dated the 10th of June, 2025.
And the signature is as Director of Public Prosecutions, KwaZulu-Natal.
That is correct.
Just for the record, this letter is addressed to you. Did you have opportunity to respond thereto?
Beside a telephonic conversation that I had with her, I did not formally respond to the letter, Commissioners, because it was a time when I was busy trying to intervene with regard to the decision of the minister to dissolve the team, trying to facilitate that this decision must be reversed in order to mitigate these challenges, which, of course, it had not happened, and I can safely say without jumping forward that the further engagement we've had with the DPP in relation to this and the decision of the team has led into the criminal case docket being registered, which we cannot discuss it now. It's subject to all this, which has happened.
I don't know about you, but Senzo Mchlunu's letter dated the 31st of December 2024 really disrupted an entire ecosystem. He thought he was just trying to stop the PKTT from going to harass VUSIMUZI Matlala over there at his house with his wife and 9 kids, only for a whole can of worms to burst wide open. What a disaster. What a disaster. And even worse, the fact that you can hear the pride when Mkhwanazi talks about the PKTT, the processes and procedures, the things that they have done, that this is his prize possession, okay? It's the creme de la creme. It's his top toy. Oh, I can imagine when he saw that the minister was trying to disband the PKTT, he said, how dare you? How dare you? And now, look where Ket Matlala has landed himself. Isn't this such a vicious circle? Think about it. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. This was an interesting research, pretty long video. I do apologize, but I had to put my thoughts in a certain way because my brain operates, in a different way. So there's a lot of information I was going through, and I wanted to make sure that I transmit it to you as clearly as possible. And let's start the year seeing things for what they are, okay? Because we've been under a lot of deception, especially with elections and done dirty coming up. But I'm going to end this video right here. Happy 2026. I wish you a prosperous 2026. Don't forget, crime does not pay. It might look like it does. Crime does not pay. I think I'm going to start my videos in 2026 with that, because I think we need to encourage people to stay away from crime. Because look at VUSIMUZI Ket Matlala, allegedly, because at the end of the day, he is not a convicted felon, right? With that said, I'm going to end this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait to see your support this year. I appreciate you all. Bye.